Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. So this is going to be the October update for the quickfire hydrangeas that I planted at my grandparents' house. So we are right about in the first week of October. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, so you can kind of see what the light situation is like right now. They're in full sun, so I'm going to show you as best as I can, but they really look great for this time of year. So you can see that the flowers, as I showed you last time, they're still kind of that pink color, but they hold that pink color for a really long time. And as you get closer to them, you can really start to see how prominent that is. And they've still grown, especially since the last update that I gave you, especially the ones that have like the suckers that are growing up. But it's great because they're going to give them a lot of energy for next year. So again, if you haven't seen any other videos from me on these hydrangeas, this is just an update. So there's other videos in the past if you want to watch these kind of grow throughout the season. But you can see that they are starting to turn a little bit yellow now that we're getting into the fall season. I don't think they have the most interesting fall foliage, but you know, they'll give a little bit of color. But you can see that in the summertime, they have this nice deep green color with like the bright red stems. And so it's still nice that you can see some of that at this time of year as well. Most of them haven't really grown a whole lot. But there's a couple other branches that have kind of stuck out. Obviously you can see this one. This is probably about a maybe 6-foot branch, which is kind of crazy. And there's a couple on this one, but it's still nice and healthy. And like I said, giving a lot of energy to the plant. I'll go down this row and you can see some more branches and they're looking really great. Now, another thing too is you might actually want to cut these at this time of year if you are growing these yourself, because these will maintain their colors like any other panicle hydrangea. They'll maintain that nice color that they have. However, if you do let them get to their frost, or you can see some of them at this point, they're starting to turn more of like a brownish color. So if you want to dry the flowers, then you could dry them like that. Or even when they first open and they're kind of yellow, you could cut them, not yellow, white. If you want to have them that color for arrangements or just to have in your house, you can cut those as well. And you can see that they're a nice like open type of flower. They're not like full of bloom, so like something like a limelight hydrangea, but they're in their own class, which is really cool. And then here's the last one right over here. So I'd say on average, like the top of this plant right here, I'll step back a little bit. That's probably somewhere around like 3 feet tall, I would say, for the second year. And remember, we planted them as quart-sized plants in their very first season. So they have grown a lot, and I know that next year they're going to get even bigger. Now, there's nothing I'm going to do today. We actually just shut the water off to them today, just because, you know, they're pretty good at this time, and the climate that we live in, they get a decent amount of precipitation at this time of year. So as long as they're getting watered, like, you know, like twice a week, I would say, through rain, like once or twice a week, then they should be fine. So I am going to leave those suckers for the rest of the season because they're only really adding energy to the plants right now. But what I am planning on doing is in about late winter, early spring, probably somewhere around like February or March, I'll come back and I will cut them and kind of shape them so that way they all have a more uniform shape starting out for the season. And with a lot of panicle hydrangeas, you really don't want to cut them back more than a third or so. Otherwise, that could be too much for the plant. You can size control them that way, but I think cutting them back by a third is a healthy amount. So that way they can grow nice thick stems with lots of flowers on them for the next season, but you're not cutting them back too short. The full size of these plants is going to be about 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. So behind me, you can see that there's still a lot of space. Like you can see a lot of like the foundation from the house, but eventually that will be completely covered up with the rest of the plants. So that's pretty much it for this update video. If you guys have any other questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. I'll also link down the other videos of the different updates that I've done on these hydrangeas so you can watch them grow throughout time. So it's actually kind of cool now that you could see a good progression of them throughout most of the season at least. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I will hopefully provide another update sometime soon, maybe around like Thanksgiving or so, because that's when I'll be back in this area again. And we'll see kind of what they look like. Probably won't be too much to the plants besides just like the brown flowers, which is still going to look really nice for the winter time. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.